Have you ever felt the fire inside you start to flicker? Do you know what it's like to stand on the edge of giving up? Feeling that everything is weighing you down and wondering if the strength you need is even within you. Today, I'm here to share with you a story, a moment in my life when I faced this exact question. It's a story of pushing through pain, of staring down doubt, of building an iron will, and how I learned that success doesn't belong to the talented or the lucky, but to those who refuse to surrender. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was at a point where every fiber of my being was tired. My spirit, once so full of life and ambition, felt like it was fighting an uphill battle every single day. And the worst part was, I wasn't even sure what I was fighting for anymore. It was one of those seasons in life where everything seemed too much, and I began to question if I was enough. Enough to meet my goals, enough to overcome the obstacles in my path. Do you know what that feels like? When doubt creeps in and each step feels heavier than the last? I remember sitting alone in my room one evening, my head in my hands, feeling that quiet, suffocating weight of failure. I felt like I was letting everyone down, like my dreams were slipping right through my fingers. Have you ever felt that? Like you've come so far, but the ground beneath you is starting to give way? In that moment, I felt a quiet voice inside whisper, "This isn't the end. This is the test." And it hit me. That's when I realized I had a choice to make. Not the kind of choice that changes where you go, but the kind that changes who you are. So there I was, feeling trapped in a quiet storm. I could barely see my way forward. Every obstacle, every past failure seemed to loom over me like mountains. But that voice, it kept echoing in my mind. This isn't the end, this is the test. I knew right then I had a choice to make. A choice that wasn't just about succeeding or failing. It was about who I was going to become. Was I going to let this hardship define me? Was I going to let fear, doubt, and defeat rob me of my potential? Think about it. Have you ever faced a moment where you're staring down your challenges, where you know that if you walk away, you might feel relief for a moment, but something much deeper inside you would feel lost? That was my moment. I realized something vital in that moment. I wasn't just fighting for success or for some external goal. I was fighting to keep my fire alive, to prove to myself that I wouldn't crumble, that I had the power to face this pain and rise through it. And so I made a promise to myself, a promise I want you to consider making to yourself, right here, right now. I promised myself that I would never ever give up, no matter what. I committed to building an iron will, not just for the big moments, but for every little step forward, every challenge along the way. This is where true success is born, not in talent, not in luck, but in that decision. The decision to keep going. When I talk about the iron will, I'm not talking about being fearless. I'm talking about the kind of determination that looks fear dead in the eyes and keeps going anyway. This iron will is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. It's about showing up day in and day out with absolute focus and relentless commitment. Now you may be thinking, but how do I do that? How do I turn my doubt into determination, my fear into fuel? Here's the truth. It's not going to come easy. You're going to have days where you're worn down, where everything in you screams to give up. But that's where the iron will is forged. In the fire of those moments when you feel like you've got nothing left to give, but you keep pushing forward anyway. Do you know what that feels like? To go beyond your comfort zone, to push through your limits, even when it's painful? To reach that point where your commitment becomes stronger than your excuses. When I first started trying to build my own resilience, it wasn't easy. I was pulled between wanting to give up and wanting to push forward, between my fears and my dreams. The first thing I knew I had to do was embrace discomfort and confront my own limits. It sounds simple, but let me tell you, it was anything but. I started by doing small things that pushed me out of my comfort zone, things I wouldn't have otherwise forced myself to do. It wasn't even about big-buck heroic acts. It was as simple as waking up an hour earlier, or choosing not to reach for my phone first thing in the morning. Those moments were about control, reclaiming a bit of my life, taking those initial steps towards something greater. At first, it felt unnatural, like I was forcing myself to be someone I wasn't. There were times when my mind screamed at me to just stay in bed, to relax, to take it easy. But I told myself, this is where growth lives. I knew that if I wanted to cultivate an iron will, I couldn't wait for motivation. I had to rely on discipline. It wasn't comfortable. And honestly, it was a bit lonely. Like walking on a path others couldn't fully understand. Then came the promise I made to myself to be consistent, no matter how hard it got. It wasn't about doing a lot all at once. It was about doing something, anything, every single day that pushed me closer to my goal. This was the hard part. Consistency is unforgiving. It doesn't allow for shortcuts. Every day I had to recommit to myself. There were no days off. Each time I showed up for myself, even when no one was watching, I felt a new layer of strength forming. On days when I felt too tired or too busy, I'd ask myself, who are you doing this for? That question was a gut check. I realized that no one else would know if I gave up, but I would. I would feel it. And I wasn't willing to betray that commitment to myself. There's something intensely powerful about showing up for yourself, about becoming the person you can rely on. That was a game changer. I could feel the iron will starting to take root in these small, daily promises. The real test came when things got hard, harder than I had anticipated. There were personal setbacks, times when everything felt stacked against me. I was frustrated, disappointed, even angry. But it was in those raw moments of pain that I realized something transformative. My pain could be my fuel. Instead of letting it wear me down, I could let it sharpen me. I asked myself, how can this experience make me stronger? I'd read somewhere that obstacles can either break you or make you, depending on how you view them. So I decided to lean into the challenges, to use them as weights that would strengthen my resolve. I started seeing obstacles as allies, as something to welcome rather than avoid. It wasn't easy. Sometimes it felt counterintuitive, but each time I managed to turn pain into power, it was like striking gold. I could feel myself growing tougher, steadier. Another powerful practice was visualization. I took time each day, sometimes just a few minutes, to imagine who I wanted to become. I saw myself as someone unbreakable, someone who faced fear and didn't falter. I focused on every detail, the confidence in my stance, the clarity in my eyes. That vision of myself was like a lighthouse guiding me through difficult moments. Every time I faced resistance, I would close my eyes and remind myself of that person I was becoming. I began asking myself, what would that person do right now? And I would act accordingly. It was like embodying my future self in the present, shaping my actions based on who I wanted to be, not who I felt I was. This visualization practice became a powerful tool in training my mind to think with resilience and focus. One of the most crucial elements in this journey was mastering self-talk. We all have that inner dialogue, the voice that either builds us up or tears us down. I learned to catch myself whenever I started doubting my abilities or questioning my path. Instead of letting fear take over, I would repeat affirmations. I am strong. I am resilient. I am capable of overcoming this. This practice transformed my mindset. I became my own coach, my own motivator. And every time I reminded myself of my strength, it became easier to face the next challenge and then the next. That voice inside became my ally rather than my critic, helping me stay on track when things got tough. The final and perhaps most significant step was finding a purpose that went beyond me. I wanted to know that my actions, my growth, would contribute something meaningful to others. I started connecting with people, mentoring, sharing insights, and giving back. This purpose gave me an even stronger drive to stay true to my journey. It wasn't just about me anymore. It was about those who might benefit from my resilience, from the strength I was building. Having that purpose was like anchoring my iron will in something immovable. When I thought about giving up, I'd remind myself that my journey had the power to inspire someone else, and that thought was enough to keep me going. Through these practices, I built something invaluable: an iron will, grounded in discipline, resilience, and a purpose greater than myself. Each step brought me closer to the person I wanted to be, stronger and more unshakable with each challenge faced. So if you're searching for that unstoppable strength within, start where I did. Small steps, daily commitments, embracing discomfort, and connecting to a purpose beyond yourself. Because once you build an iron will, no obstacle, no hardship can stand in your way. This is where real, unstoppable success lives, and it's available to anyone willing to put in the work. I want you to understand, this isn't just about achieving your goals. It's about becoming someone who can weather any storm, who can rise through any setback, who isn't defeated by life, but empowered by it. So here's what I want you to do. Make a promise to yourself today. Promise that you will cultivate this iron will. That no matter what happens, no matter how difficult things get, you will not break. You will not quit. You will prove to yourself that you have what it takes to keep going, to push through and to rise above. Let this be the turning point. The moment where you decided to let nothing stand in the way of the person you're meant to be. The moment where you became unstoppable. We have more interesting videos about Stoicism and the way of life. If you want to watch a video about this one thing will make you more valued instantly, please click link above in the video. Till the next time, stay strong and live wisely.